Okay, good morning again, everyone. This is Nick Petro, National Weather Service in Raleigh. It's 11:30 on Friday morning, January 6th, with your winter storm update. And what you see on the screen here right now, I thought I'd start off with current conditions. So you can see this is actually a radar loop, and it's color-coded based on precipitation type. So the blues and pinks you see there, that's snow. The green is rain, the orange is sleet, and the red is freezing rain. And the numbers there are current temperatures. So anyway, you could see that indeed we do have some weather headed our way, and temperatures are obviously well above freezing across a good portion of central eastern North Carolina. And you might be thinking, well, there's some rain just to the southwest. Well, when will that be getting up here? That is rain, I might add, in terms of precipitation type. But that may come in here during the afternoon hours. But again, you see those temperatures are warm enough. I think we're going to be in good shape, and it'll be mostly rain, or just about all rain, as we pointed out earlier. I'll show you here in a minute when this batch gets here. So anyway, when this batch moving across, or beginning to move across the mountains here, when it makes its way to the other side, a lot of it's just going to simply dissipate. That's not uncommon when weather moves across the mountains. So, but there could be a few snow showers. What's left over get going in the Triad region later this afternoon. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to the slides, and a lot of this will come into a little bit of clarity here. The winter storm watches warnings and winter weather advisories are all still in effect. No changes since this morning. All in all, no major changes since we emailed these since we emailed these briefing slides out at 6 a.m. So if you saw our 6 a.m. set of briefing slides, nothing major has changed, but we did add this here's what the radar may look like slide as a better way to kind of visualize how this may all play out as the day goes on. So obviously, we want to focus on, again, for timing. That's what this is meant for, timing, not necessarily intensity. And the white text overlays what precipitation type we think it will come in at. So as I sort of alluded to already, later this afternoon, we've got that precipitation that was that I earlier showed in South Carolina, moving up across central and southeast North Carolina and expanding. Should be warm enough that should be all rain. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a few wet snowflakes mixing in, particularly east of the Charlotte area. And then as a few of the lingering kind of leftover flurries or light snow showers move across the mountains, they might get into the Triad region by later today. Again, I don't think this is going to be a big deal later this afternoon. I don't think there's going to be anything to really worry about in terms of things going downhill drastically this afternoon. I think things will deteriorate this evening, however. Look at the 8 p.m. Slide, and you can see a fairly wide precipitation shield covering much of central North Carolina. And as we've been advertising, as you go west and north, there's a good chance that'll be more snow, perhaps some sleet mixing in with rain across the Triangle region. As you head south, toward Fayetteville area, that's going to be more in the way of rain. And as you get east of I-95, that'll be rain. Again, still warm enough this evening for that precipitation in those areas to be rain. But as we head into midnight and the storm gets a little stronger, the atmosphere cools a little bit, look for it to be all snow north of I-85 corridor. Look for all snow across, just east in the Charlotte area, northeast of Charlotte. But however, we're going to see this mix of snow and sleet across the Triangle region, northern Sandhills region, up toward the I-95 corridor. And the only place we still expect it to be just rain will be across the southern I-95 corridor, the Fayetteville area over to Clinton, and maybe just south of Goldsboro. Those locations will probably see rain prolonged well into the overnight hours. As we get to 4 a.m. Saturday, we expect the snow to pick up in intensity, particularly across the basically everything from west of the Triangle, the Triad region, south of the Triad region. But we are starting to become concerned that the sleet could hang on longer. We could see a more prolonged period of sleet across the Triangle region, Johnston County, over to Rocky Mount. It could be a lot of sleet. It could be quite a bit of sleet. So even though the word snow, even though it may not be all predominantly snow, there's still going to be a lot of sleet that could cause a lot of problems up towards the northern I-95 corridor, snow heavy at times, rain mainly, again, southeast North Carolina, eastern North Carolina. When we get up, when day after daylight Saturday morning, cold air will be pouring in, so everything should change to snow. And then by noon Saturday, precipitation will be ending. So things will be wrapping up pretty quickly by midday Saturday. So that's how we think right now this is all going to play out. When you look at the actual snowfall forecast, this is our official forecast. There's a lot of ways this can be altered, but clearly, as I pointed out and alluded to, the heaviest snow we're expecting from basically Raleigh, northwest and northeastward, along the I-85 corridor, over toward the northern I-95 corridor, where 7, 8, maybe 9 inches of snow may fall. But there could be a pretty quick change, as we call it, a gradient, where the change is very quick. Pretty tight gradient where snowfall amounts drop off pretty quickly as you get, say, south of Wilson, south of Clayton, south of Sanford, Albemarle to Troy. Things could drop off in numbers very quickly because of that prolonged rain and mixture of sleet. So let me show you some alternate scenarios. The snow numbers we're showing down south, Rayford, Fayetteville, Clinton, that would all come after it changes to snow tomorrow after sunrise. So I don't see any snow falling in Rayford, Fayetteville, Clinton this evening or really much of tonight. Those accumulation values are for tomorrow morning after it changes back to snow. So what are some possible alternate scenarios? So let's start south. The area enclosed by the green dashed line, we're talking Laurinburg, Rayford, Fayetteville, Goldsboro, Clinton, Dunn, Four Oaks, maybe up to Smithfield. That area will see rain well into the nighttime hours. There is uncertainty into how much snow falls after the change later Saturday morning. So these numbers may, in fact, if the snow does not last after it changes to snow tomorrow morning, if it doesn't last very long or if it wraps up pretty quickly, these numbers could be somewhat high. And they're not very high to begin with, but there may not be much snow at all if the snow doesn't last very long after it changes over after sunrise tomorrow. The other alternate scenario is this white dashed line. Basically, from Wadesboro, Albemarle, Carthage, Sanford, Pittsboro, Raleigh, Clayton, Wilson, Nashville, Enfield, Rocky Mount, Tarboro. That area could see the precipitation type remain all sleet for a prolonged period of time well into the nighttime, which would obviously result in lower snowfall numbers than what we're showing here, but still very, very hazardous conditions, would still be a substantial significant event due to a significant accumulation of sleet. Either way, whether it falls as snow or falls as sleet, there's going to be some major problems with travel right through the weekend. Finally, the dashed red line, spots in that area could see more snow than what's shown here. So I wouldn't be surprised if a few locations in this area get 9, 10, maybe an isolated 11-inch snowfall amount here and there if you're in that within that red dashed line. So a lot of things could change still, but again, this is the way we see it shaping up. In terms of freezing rain, how much ice may fall or accumulate rather due to freezing rain. We're not talking sleet, we're talking freezing rain, the clear ice that accumulates on surfaces, trees, power lines. We're not expecting much of that. There could be, we're going to be closely watching this because the models have been throwing hints at us that there could be a little bit more freezing rain than what we're expecting. But right now, we think more than likely it's going to be more in the way of sleet than freezing rain. So if, for precipitation types other than snow. So anyway, we'll be taking a close look at this again and updating this later this afternoon if needed. But right now, it's not looking like much in the way of freezing rain. And again, where it would be Goldsboro, Clinton, Fayetteville, Rayford, Laurinburg, those general areas. All right, so when it comes to the actual impacts, what is all of what I just showed going to do? In the blue area, heavy snow, nearly impossible travel this weekend. Cold temperatures will give us black ice issues right through early next week. Travel is going to be a mess in the blue area right through early next week. In the pink, there could be a lot of sleet, but still heavy snow. Either way, snow or sleet, travel is going to be bad, hazardous, if not impossible, right through the weekend. And again, with black ice issues continuing into early next week, travel will be hampered in this area right through the weekend and early next week. In the orange area, there is some snow expected, but models are trending to more sleet and perhaps a lot of it. So look for prolonged travel impacts right through the weekend and early next week, black ice early next week. So again, maybe our snow numbers may not be as high there, but there's going to be a lot of sleet. So anyway, and then finally in the green area, rain will help make things a lot better, in prolonged rain, I should say, than areas to the north. So there will be quite a variation, though, as you go from south to north. Southern areas of the green area, really not that bad. Just a lot of rain and not much snow when it changes to snow tomorrow. But as you get into the northern sections of this area, there could be, like I said, an inch or two of snow after it changes over tomorrow morning. And that could result in localized travel hazards and then the subsequent black ice, issues right through the weekend, perhaps even into Monday. So anyway, that's the hazard impacts and severity based on the area. So anyway, let me go ahead and I'm going to just pause for a moment here so I can get rid of this and prevent any flickering in the screen here. But anyway, so let's go ahead to the next slide, which is our confidence, and how is our confidence shaping up with this particular situation. In timing, we have pretty decent confidence of when it's coming in and when it's ending, but the precipitation changeovers and the timing of that's where we have a lot of uncertainty. Medium confidence in the snow and ice amounts, but we do have high confidence that regardless of which type of winter precipitation you get, there'll be dangerous travel conditions this weekend, even into early next week. All right, so timeline, again, the worst of the conditions, the worst of the weather tonight into Saturday. But hazardous impacts continue right through Saturday night and even into early next week with the black ice issues. Temperatures, we could see single-digit readings Sunday night. So the word here on this slide is dangerous cold. The snowpack will make it even worse in locations that have a solid snowpack. So again, lows in the teens Saturday night and Monday night, and lows in the single digits for Sunday night. Now, locations that have that decent solid snowpack may not see temperatures rise above freezing for a couple days, really right into Tuesday morning. All right, so other than that, really not expecting a whole lot of wind issues, and we'll be doing another briefing later this afternoon. So we'll be doing this again at 4:30. The next briefing certainly will be issued by then. And that is the way things are shaping up. Obviously, we're in a sort of a nowcast mode right now, where we're kind of watching radar and seeing how this all evolves, and we'll be making adjustments to our forecast based on those near-term trends. So that's the briefing. That's the way it's all shaping up. Thanks for joining this webinar, and I'll be happy to take any questions at this time. And I'll start with, bear with me here for a second while I go through them here. Troy asked if there's any flooding threat due to rapid snowmelt later next week, and I'm not seeing that right now. If we expected some heavy rain to fall, while there might be some light rain later in the week, right now I think it will happen gradually enough to prevent any major flooding issues. Great question, though. Another question is, are you planning to issue a hazardous weather outlook for the cold? That's a good point. Yeah, that's something I will toss over to our forecasters who are on the forecast desk, and great suggestion. Thanks so much. That might be something we'll add to that hazardous weather outlook as the afternoon progresses. So anyway, I think that's all the questions I've got here. So we'll do this briefing again at 4:30 this afternoon. You can use the same exact link that you used to join this one. That link will stay active for 4:30 webinar today. It'll stay active for the 11:30 a.m. webinar tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to just be talking about the cold and the follow-up. So certainly by 11:30, by this time tomorrow, I think most of the presentation will be gone and ended. So anyway, it'll just sort of be a follow-up, and we'll go from there. Any questions, give us a call. Be sure to check out our social media pages. We put a lot of information up on there. And if anything changes drastically here in the next before our next webinar, I will send a note out by email.